Parashat Tazria introduces us to the complexities of the system of tahara and tum'ah, purity and impurity. The implications of impurity in our tradition have taught us to fear impurity. It's limiting. We're supposed to avoid exposure to impurity. Eating, using, and touching impure items is forbidden, and impure people are prohibited from entering the temple. In some cases, impurity is associated with wrongdoing and expulsion. As Ibn Ezra pointed out, the word nida in our parasha comes from the root nadad, which means to wander, and perhaps indicates rejection of menstruating women. But if we examine in depth the notions of impurity and purity, I think we'll have to challenge this negative perception of impurity and recreate a different picture of this system. Let's first note that each and every one of us will be impure during our lifetime. Many of us quite frequently. Some cases of impurity are not only necessary in life, but even desirable. For example, male semen will cause those in contact with it to become impure, whether it is by a man by himself or in the context of intimate relations. A woman's menstrual blood is desirable and healthy and indicates her ability to conceive and bear children. And let's not forget that both ends of life, birth and death, are causes for impurity. Our parasha opens by teaching us that the miracle of birth, by definition, renders the mother impure. And the impurity of death is so compelling that we are all considered to have it. There is no death without impurity, and there is no life without impurity. Without impurity, there can be no humankind and no world. In light of the highly desirable instances, it seems to me that we really should not consider impurity to be negative or to indicate spiritual damage. What's more, last week we noted Shabbat Parah and read from Parashat Chukat about the ritual of the red heifer. We reminded ourselves how the purifying process from the impurity of death itself involves impurity. While preparing the ashes and the water of the red heifer to purify the impure, several of the steps taken by the priest render him impure. Thus, impurity is an integral part of trying to be in a state of purity. We also find the opposite to be true, that causes for impurity hold within them elements of purity. Our parasha opens with the impurity of the birthing woman, who, and I quote, for 33 days shall sit bidmei tahara, it says, to be read as with blood of purity, as Rashi points out. Going one step further, we should note that purity is basically an impossible state. The word pure means pristine, uniform, with no mixing. This is something of an unnatural condition and certainly impossible to maintain over time. Generally speaking, our tradition does not sanctify perfection. Rather, it requires situations of complexity and installs mechanisms to deal with it, like impurity caused by a pure bleed and a purification process that causes impurity. Basic concepts in Judaism, such as repentance, assume that human perfection is an oxymoron and make the notion of idealizing it seem shallow. The thing is that the only impurity that has practical implications in an age without a temple is the impurity of women in menstruating and in childbirth. Therefore, it's all the more detrimental to gender relations, to a healthy society, and to religious thought when we attribute negativity to impurity. True, impurity is limiting. That's why we strive to be pure. But it certainly does not indicate a defect or sinfulness, nor should it warrant rejection, shame, or blame placing. It's part of the system of life, creation, a functioning society, and of dealing with complexity. And all of us, men and women alike, share in this system together. Shavua Tov from Schechter.